this guy knows what he's talking about, doesn't he? Oh, sorry. Just reading up about toothy critters, about sharks. But I'll tell you what, shark fishing can be exciting, no question, but you need to have the right gear. You need strong line, you need a good reel, you need a tough rod, and you need a good shark trace. And here in the Totally Awesome workshop, that's what we're going to be knocking up, shark traces. And this is how I make mine. Right, to make a start on things, you're going to need some wire for making the traces. I've got big strong wire here, stainless steel cable, that is, I guess, about 600 pounds plus in breaking strain, at least. Or you can buy some of this. This is called 7-strand Duratest. Forget the price, that's an old one. And this is one I would use for blue sharks or pool beagle sharks. Now, you don't have to make one out of a whole trace. You don't have to use all wire. You can actually add a supplement of what we call a rubbing leader of heavy monofilament. And this one is 400 pounds Andy monofilament. Then to join it to the hooks and swivels, you need some crimps. You can't just tie a knot in the wire. Well, I suppose you can, and I have done, but you need some of these little crimping sleeves. They're called mini doubles. They come in a wide variety of sizes. You're going to need some fish hooks, strong ones, not rubbish ones. Good strong ones. I use mustads, and the best one I use, to be honest, years ago we used to use the Seamaster, which the model pattern was a 7699. Okay, it was offset. The point was just offset for bait fishing. I don't really think you need that now, because to me there's a 50% chance if the point is bent off, not only can it bend out and go into the fish, it can also bend and go into the bait and you lose the fish altogether. So the ones I use now are 7731Ds. That's a 7.0, but you can use them right up to a 12.0 for bigger sharks. Very, very strong hook, brazed eye, as you can see there. Assortment of pliers, long nose pliers, standard pliers, cutters. The most important thing of all, crimping tools. I'll tell you about those in a minute. I've got 3 there, all extremely ancient, and I'll knock up a trace on a couple of these different hooks. Okay, I'm going to be using some of this wire, stainless. Normally it's 49 strand, that's 7-on-7, but as you might be able to see from the end there, it has an infuriating habit of splaying out when you cut it. So when you first buy it, you have to make a cut of some sort. Here's a little tip. If you go back about an inch behind where it splays out and just get a bit of sellotape, don't bother with scissors, and just roll it tightly in the direction of the lay of the cables, then with your cutters you cut through the middle of the sellotape. Always hold the ends, snip, snap it off, bang. Now these are mini double sleeves. They come from the States. You don't want a single cylinder. They are, if you can see that, it's like the figure 8, looking at it from the end view. You might just be able to make that out there. I'll put a few up there. So that's like a figure 8 there. And the reason for that is, as you can see, I've got a nice clean end to the wire now. I just thread it through. Now I rotate it in the line, same direction as the wire taking. And then you slide your shark hook on. Just like this. Just put that wire through there. Now, just for safety, I use the one way of going through the hook once, twice. That's enough. Then, should this crimp slide here, it's going to jam down on that knot anyway. And then, here's the tricky part, folks. You should see it come out the other end. There he comes. Now, these are swaging tools. Quite heavy, quite expensive, but they're used commercially. As you can see, they're all graded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes there. It doesn't come with side cutters or anything, but I'll just show you on this one. You slide it in, just like that, and then you compress one down onto the other. Bang, and that compresses it. Now that's shut down. I'm going to take it out like this, but then I'm going to show you, be very, very careful of the power, because this goes and locks like this under pressure. Now just watch the end of this. I'll put the fish hook there, it could be a finger, watch. Bang, gone. So be careful when you release these, hold them and support them, otherwise nasty, nasty. Okay, so they give you a guide there. Now I'm gonna close this one up now. Get it right in the middle of the jaws, about central. Now you might have to lean on them. You'll hear it click. That's it. That's locked. That's done. There's no way that's coming apart. Undo it, allowing for the spring, and then all you've got to do is snip off the tag end as close as you can get. Go on, and then I get my pliers and just close those bits over. Now you can whip over that. If you want to whip over that, you can do, but you should be able to see that's compressed it perfectly with the neck of those jaws, same width as the neck of the jaws. You don't need to crush these ends here. You don't need to crush those ends. So I've got about 5 or 6 feet of wire, and you should be able to see. There's the sellotape. Just roll it round. You don't have to go all the way around. It's just enough to hold those fibres together. Get your cutters. Pop. Gone straight through. And you can see the sellotape's just holding it. Now the wraps here, the cables go this way. So when you take the sellotape off, voila. That's that French again, look. It's all ready to go. Nice and neat. Another sleeve. Spin it in the direction of the cable. Now you don't have to use that Flemish Eye. I'll do one without it just to show you. You can just tuck it straight back in there, a la normal. Just push it down onto your swivel. Your swivel really, you don't get much twist when you're shark fishing in the trace. You know, it's just get it in the jaws, slide it midway, compress it. Ooh. Be careful with that spring. Snip it off. I just bend it back a bit, the wire. Cut off the surplus, and if you want to whip over it, you can do. So there is a swivel, and I use Andy. Another good one's called Jinkai, and there's another one called Momoi, M-O-M-O-I, I think it is. But this stuff is good, and it's very, very strong, quite not pretty brittle. What you want to do there is you want to cut, instead of that butt end there, you want to cut it on a slope, because he's going to be a real pain. If I can cut, let's try those other. I want to get a sharp cut on that. They're not sharp enough. There you go. That's a nice sloping sharp cut, and you'll find, bang, they go straight through the crimp better. Again, through the eye of the barrel. This is happened to be a Barkley 4.0. You can use a little bit small if you want for sharks, but you know, they're not going to pull out. Now you can, for this one, you can go through twice if you want, because if you think nylon's going to slip, use what we call the Flemish Eye, and you can go through there twice. Come through. Go through again, if I can get it through. Very, very stiff, you see. This is where you need to do it first time. If you can, get it through, tuck it in. Back through the sleeve. Slide the sleeve up. There you can. Should be able to see that's nice and neat there. Take your swaging tool. Get it dead in the middle. Now, because there's thicker diameter in this, I'm going to drop that size on this a bit. I'm going to come back one size on the crimp, because the wire has a thinner diameter than the mono. Ooh, bang, done. I don't want to kill it, as we say, and pinch it too much. And you can see it's compressed it there, and that's how much it's crushed it down from the outside to the inside there. Dead easy. Just snip off. There's the trace. Should that slip, it's going to jam on a knot there, but trust me, they don't ever slip. If you do them properly, they don't slip. 10 or 12 feet of mono, come to the other end. As you can see, because I've got that chamfered cut on there, goes straight through the 2.2 crimp. There's my 4.0 swivel. You can also do it just once if you want, if you don't want a big bulky knot, but let's face it, it's shark fishing. It's basic stuff. It's primeval, it's Neanderthal attacking, hunting, all that rubbish. Snug it down with just one turn through there. Get your swaging tool. Second one back, don't forget, because it's a bit thicker in diameter. I've made hundreds of these, so I know the sizes. And then, oh, done. Snip off the tag end. And as you can see, nice swivel, nice neat job. As they say, totally awesome shark trace. Okie doke, there's the big, that's about a 12-0 7731 hook, 4, 5 or 6 feet of wire, and you probably wonder why we got this extra, say 8 feet or so of heavy mono. Now that is not for the length of sharks, and you add it up and you think, my God, he's got a 12 or 14 foot trace. 14 foot shark is extremely large, I can assure you, in excess of 1,000 pounds. It's because the shark wraps all this around his body. Now if he wraps it around his body like this, and then he's got it tight to his jaw, wraps it around his tail, and he goes crack like this. Now most of you know you can't snap line like this, but if you jerk it you can break it. So you need this for when it wraps around their body and he's thrashing and it doesn't snap this 400 pound mono, we hope. Now you can also sharpen these hooks. Now I take the barbs off them. I'll show you what I do, just take it down because it's easier for getting the hooks out, and without the barb it's easier to pull the hooks in. Haha, never thought of that, did you? Okay, now this is an offset O'Shaughnessy hook. You can see the offset there. It's got a really big barb on there, so I'm just going to put it in the vise. You can use a grinder, but it's a bit tricky because it can catch in the grinding wheel and fly away while we're still going new. So I'll put this in the vise and we'll just take that top of that barb off. Now that's a pretty big barb on that, so I don't really like that. I like to, all my sharks now, I kept loads years ago, those days are gone and it's putting them back. So I'm going to file this right down. You could do it on the boat if you want. Take that barb down. You don't need it. The hook's going to be pretty sharp out of the box, and as long as you keep that line tight to the shark, you shouldn't lose it. And then while you've got it in the vise, just, I put my nail there so I don't want to come too far down. Just put a bit of a point on that. So you can see that is really, really sharp. And I leave just a little bump. I've taken more than half, probably 2/3 of the barb off that. I just barely catch on it. Just enough to keep it in, but easy to take it out. Now that last shark trace, you catch anything with that, from tiger sharks to pool beagles to makos to bull sharks. But over in the UK, you probably want something a little bit lighter, which is why I use a sort of 8/0 size hook or a 7/0 with a piece of mackerel or a very small mackerel. Now you can then drop your sizes, and if you've got the wire, which is like this 7-strand Duratest, it's cabled, you can actually use it all the way through. You know, there's smaller sharks, you can use a smaller trace, you don't have to have a big rubbing lever, you just have to use more wire. So it's the same principle, but you can, if you want, to use a single sleeve, and I'll show you, because you can't use ordinary cup to cups. These are cup to points. When they close it, instead of being cup to cup and compressing it like this with a swaging tool, this is a cup to point tool. You might not be able to see it. So there's a cup one side and there's a point that compresses into the wire. So it's pushing the wire into itself. So you don't use cup to points on monofilament, definitely, because it weakens it. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, let me just show you. Here is the mini double sleeve, which you can see has got that figure of 8 on the end, whereas the single sleeve is just that. It has just a single center hole. Now if I use these crimps, but I'll put a piece of wire in there just to show you. We throw it, so this is the wrong size crimp for this one, but it'll give you an idea anyway, hopefully. Obviously you can double it back. It's on the wire like that. Now you should be able to see, just against here, it's a cup to point. It's a cup to point. It pushes that point into that cup. So in we go. If I can get it level. Oh, now you can see it. Now you should be able to see it. It's pushing that point at the top down into the cup. So the same principle of compressing. Ooh, like that. But if that was on mono, you can imagine, although it's compressed it would crush it into the mono. So if you're using all wire, you can get away with these single crimps. If you're using mono and or wire, you want the mini double sleeves. Okay, so you've got your shark traces. You're going to thread the line up through the rod rings. You're going to need some swivels. There is a link swivel, and they work by popping that wire just inside there. do not use these for shark fishing. This will open right up because there's only that bit there to hold it. Fine for regular fishing, but not for shark fishing. Then there's this one, which is a sort of a double one, mini double curve on it. That one you squeeze apart. I'll use this other swivel just to show you, and you can put it on your line like that. That's a good one. You can in fact use these, but there's an even better one, and it's the only one I would really like to be using on a big one, and that is a Sampo ball bearing snap swivel. They are almost indestructible. They come in various tests. This one has a breaking strain of something like 200 pounds, I think it is, and they grade down to sort of 165 pounds, 100 pounds smaller, but you know, don't go less than about 175 pounds, I would think. And the spring on this is really tight. That is really tight, that spring. And of course, as far as spinning, it's ball bearing. Brilliant. Also, at the top here, it's a closed welded eye. So that is the one to use. So having got that far with you, let's just give you a tip on how you're going to suspend that shark line in the water. Well, we've got this far, we might as well continue and show you how to rig up. Now, put that band around my sleeve. Got the end of your fishing line. It's coming out the end of the rod top. This is a yellow line. I hope you can see it okay. I have my Sampo ball bearing snap swivel. I tied on with the weld inside the shielding, inside the metal there. I don't want to tie it so the knot's on the weld. Now I'm going to use a tuck blood knot. I hope you can see it. Go through. I'm going to really over tie it. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times round through the loop, right? But normally for quick fishing, I just pull that down, wet it and pull it down. But this is called a tuck blood. So you've gone through the loop. Now bring it back through this other loop, like that, and a bit of spit. It stops it burning when you pull it down. It should all lock down really tight, and that will not slip. That's a tuck blood loop. Get my snippers, snip the end off. That goes on the end of the shark trace. Okay, easiest thing to suspend a shark bait is a balloon. Now I see people blowing balloons up like they're at a party on New Year's Eve. What's the point? The balloon is not there to see it, unless you're extremely short-sighted with 3.5 vision or something like that. I certainly haven't got 20/20 vision. It's just to suspend the bait. Now, if you blow the balloon up big, a shark might eat it. He might pull the balloon down. He might pop the balloon. He might drop the bait. Now, I'm not prepared to risk that, so I just blow them up just barely. Bit more than that. This is how big I've seen them. I've seen loads of people putting balloons like that out. Now, you might catch a shark, and you probably will do, but one day you're going to get a drop run from one, and you will be, you know what? Really unhappy. So, go down to this side. Now, about there. 1 knot. There's my fishing line. Now, you can get all sorts of swivels and that to slide up and down the line with stop knots and whatever, but I just use a rubber band like this, okay? I'm going to come sideways on and tie it, and I go 1 loop like here, and I just go round and round with the other end overlapping. I'm stretching it tight as I do it. Okay, so I've got a long loop and a short loop, if you can see that. And I tuck it through the short loop, just like that. Look, look, that doesn't slide. Then, with the other end, a half hitch in the end of the band. Trace is already out in the water. I've obviously measured the depth if I want. I tuck it on like that, and I put that half hitch not below the knot. I put it just on the balloon itself. Now that can bob up and down in the water, the shark bait, with the waves, and the rubber band, you know, absorbs a lot of that, won't break off. Away it goes, you get a shark one. A shark will probably pull this under because there's not that much resistance. And then when you get near the boat, all you've got to do is either yourself or somebody else, you just reach out for the balloon, which won't wind through the rod top rings, will it? And snap. Away it goes. Job done. This goes through the rod rings. you get your shark, you tag it and you release it. There is another way. Right, now the other way I've done it, I've got an old net cork float that you can pick them up, you can buy them commercially if you want. They don't cost much, they're plastic now, they're not cork. But onto this, which I can slide up and down the line like this, so it's easy, slides up and down. I've tied a Dubro, that's DU-BRO sailfish release clip, into which a line pinches into a little clip up here. And you've got an adjusting screw here, so you can tension it up as much as you want. Now I'm going to put that in there, and all you do is you just pinch it in, so it pinches like a little pair of pliers. I've set my depth up, and I pinch it like that. In you go. Now that just sits there, bobbing up and down as per the balloon does, but when I get a sharp one and I strike, this clip here, if you watch just here, is free, breaks free. The float runs right up and down the line. In fact, just stays in the water like this. You're fighting the shark all the time. It comes right up to the rod top, by which time the crewman's got the trace. So there you go, a couple of tips for you. Hopefully it'll get you out sharking. You've seen the shark traces, you know what there is now. Just totally awesome. Add some water. And good luck with the sharks, and if you do get one, be careful with those teeth, won't you guys? Until next time.